everyone. Happy Monday. It's the first Monday of February, Love Month. My name is Janelle Villiers, and I am your host of The Other Side podcast. For some people, Mondays mean a Monday motivation, or sometimes it's a mindful Monday. But if you have been with me before, you know that Mondays for me is a time to carve out on the Other Side podcast, where we focus on things that affect and impact our mental health. We're all on this journey and we're just trying to get better and grow as we go along the journey. And so I'm so thankful to have all of you on with me, growing and learning together. It means a lot. So I'm happy that you're all here. And so if this is the first time that you've ever come on with me, you know that I typically have a topic that I love to discuss, and we go through it. So I share some knowledge and some wisdom that I have learned about the topic. P.S. Please keep sending those topics to me. I love receiving them. You can just put them in the chat like, hey, Janelle, would you mind discussing this next week or in a couple of weeks? I love those. But this week, we're talking about how can we heal from soul ties? Great question. Well, I'm really excited because it's not going to be just me today. Today, I have an amazing guest with me. She is a mom. She is a wife. We were just joking with each other saying, being a friend is a real thing. And she is a poet. She's an amazing poet and really and truly, really exciting. She is an international best-selling author. Everybody, please help me bring to the stage Miss Nicole Elise.
Dear me, love yourself a little bit more than yesterday. Make yourself a priority. Chase your goals. Be grateful for the things you have. Be proud of yourself and celebrate the amazing woman you are.
Yeah.
There she is.
Hi.
Oh man, I am so excited to have you on here. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, I love making the intro videos for our guests.
I was not expecting it.
And that's one of the reasons why I love doing it. It is such a great way to introduce somebody. It almost feels spirit tunnel-ish. If anybody has ever seen a spirit tunnel from the J Hud show, it is almost like that. It just makes people feel really good, and I love that.
I love it too.
So thank you so much, first of all, for coming on, for spending some time with us here on the Other Side podcast. For those who don't know, really quickly, just tell us a little bit about your book, From Gardens to Graves. Let me go. I will put the title in. It's already in the description, so you can go below. If you're on YouTube or Facebook, you can go and find all the things. But I will also put it in the chat right now, so you can go and find it. But tell everybody a little bit about your book.
Gardens from Graves is also, thank you for the beautiful introduction, by the way. But Gardens from Graves is a poetry collection. It's a compilation of many collections that I've been working on through the years, with the intricacies of grappling with life and letting go of old flames and things of that nature. It's a 2-part collection. So the first part is Growing Pains, and the second part is Soul Ties. It's a very deeper, it's a lot deeper than your regular poetry book. It's more for self-love and self-worth. I call it the root work poetry because it's a lot of digging deep and hitting tough topics. So there's even notes on the back because I've had many people explain that they had to stop and just take a breath or write things down. So we added note pages to the back, but it's, I feel, a root work type of poetry because that's really what I had to do, is the root work in order to get to Gardens from Graves and letting everything rest, or putting everything to rest, I should say.
I love that. So in this, I mean, you must describe certain things that you have experienced in your life as it comes to relationships, right?
Yes. All forms. All forms of relationships, friendships,
Mm,
um situationships, uh growing out of who you are told you're supposed to be and into who you really genuinely feel and owning it, as well as like being in that and still not feeling settled and
mm,
having to take a step back and really reflect, like, I have all that I am and all that I want to be, but it's not centering me, and
mm,
having to grapple with that while still functioning.
mm,
Originally the book was going to be called Moving While Broken because of all the internal thoughts we go through on a daily basis, with, like I said, a broad spectrum of self, others, lovers, family, and really purpose, finding your purpose.
mm.
So it touches on a lot all at once.
Well, we love talking about the relationship with self.
Mhm.
That's
Yes.
probably the most important one, right after all the rest, and or
Yes.
before all the rest. So I'm really glad that you are able to even identify those types of relationships as well, and like the different aspects of the relationships and how they can impact um, the romantic relationships, the relationship with friends, right, with family, and all of that. So I think that's really beautiful. So people can probably understand why Nicole would be an excellent person to answer today's topic question, which is how can we heal from soul ties? So
Mm.
I have heard of soul ties. I remember the first time I heard of them, I was like, what is it? First of all, I was like, I don't even know what a soul tie is. And then it was like, how could it be impacting me? Oh my goodness. And so let's start off with that. What's your personal definition of a soul tie?
So a soul tie to me is allowing yourself, I mean, because there's different, I feel there's different types of soul ties.
Mm,
Um, you gotta connect yourself to the right being, whether whatever relationship that is, because a soul tie, I feel like it's this interchanging, like pouring into, and there's a weaving that's happening.
mm,
And it can be one-sided, where somebody knows they're about to connect to somebody that is a giver,
mm,
and they're just going to take and let that give keep growing and growing and growing to where they feel attached, in the sense of like, well, you have to stick around because I did this, or I'm not letting them go because I put too much into them, while that person has been detached and is like, they know what they're doing to affect you in that way. Or it's also, it could be a two-way street where it's hard to release yourself from, because you both know that you've invested and you've both got into a wall where it's just like, we were seasonal and
mm,
we thought we were eternal, you know. And in my case, i I was a slow burn soul tie.
mm,
I met this man very young, and we never took it to other levels. We always entertained the idea. We kept seeing each other, and he was very gentlemanlike. And I was just like, at the end of the day, I know you are not my one. So
mm,
I stepped off and I stepped away from it because I don't like doing that. But I ended up in a long term relationship after that. And I was looking to, the saying is, get under somebody to get over somebody.
oh. Let's keep it all the way real. Uh-huh.
We're just gonna keep it real because,
Right.
like, I put this book out there, like, y'all need to know why.
Yep.
And I was just like, but I'm not that person that just like gets under everybody, you know. But the people that I was getting to know, I'm like, okay, there is no connection here, you know. And I
Mm,
am a lover girl, is what I say. I'm a lover girl through and through and through. So I
mm,
need a connection to feel something to get over the other thing.
mm,
lo and behold, I'm like, he's always wanted me. We had good chemistry. Let's see if
Mm.
it's there. I could count on this one hand the times that we got together and my world was rocked. And it wasn't because the physical. It was literally like one of those, like, have you seen That's So Raven? Did you ever watch
No,
that?
I've never seen that show.
Oh my gosh, there's a moment where she's
Uh-huh.
every time she has a vision, it's like goes tunnel vision and it's replays
Oh.
everything that's about to happen. It was
Oh.
like in reverse. It was like as soon as we connected, everything that happened that didn't affect me all of a sudden affected me all at once. And it was
Oh.
like a train just went. It took me longer to get over that man than it did the guy I was in a long-term relationship with for 4 years.
Oh.
I was like, what? What just happened? It was like a switch of power.
Mm.
And I did not like it. And I was not letting it go. I was like, no, no, I'm getting that back. And that's
Mm.
where my soul tie was more so like I was being stubborn in the sense of I need my power back. That's my ego sitting here and fighting to be like, you're not going to play me because it was so much that I was like, I always knew you weren't the one. To now it's like, oh my gosh, how do I make myself his type? Because he had already grown too, and he was seeing it as fun too.
Mm.
And I didn't know how to detach that because I'm like, you always wanted me. This isn't just fun anymore. You just took control. So
Mm.
it's really allowing yourself to see it beforehand, what you're stepping into, because it might be the stronghold that you never knew was about to grab. That's what the soul tie was for me. I was like, and I, oop, what?
How did I get here? I'm not even sure where I am.
I'm
What's
like,
going
excuse
on?
you? Wait, what? Lord? And oh my gosh, Lord.
Mm.
Because I don't know if you're religious at all,
Mm.
but I have always been a dream interpreter. Like I always see beyond, and I think that's the poetry in me.
Mm.
I always try to see different things. This man said his dream to me, and I said it back to him verbatim in another way in an instant. That as soon as the words came out of my mouth, I was like, that wasn't for him, that was for me.
Oh, wow.
And the Lord needed me to interpret that for myself. And I was like, I don't care. And that's one of the poems is called Binge, where it's like, I don't care if I have to sit there and spell it out. I'm still going to eat this cake. I'm still going to sign it off and say we're done, but I'm still going to enjoy it and I'm still going to chase after it.
Okay, wait. Let me make sure I'm understanding. So you interpreted a message that was for you, and the message was stop seeing this man. What was the message? So I
The
just so like
dream
I'm okay.
was literally, I have a dream that somebody keeps coming and trying to move in. And I keep telling them, you can't stay here. And I keep taking their bags and kicking them out. And they
Mm.
keep trying to move in.
Mm.
And he is like, and it's a friend, but I'm not looking for anybody to attach to like that. And it was like a male friend, like the way he was describing it to me and everything, but he was just like, he was trying to move in and I wasn't looking for like a roommate or anything like that. So he's like, I had to just cut him off. I had to change my locks and everything. And I was like, you know what that means, right? And he's like, what? And I was like, somebody's trying to force themselves into your life that doesn't belong. And you need to close the door. A week later, he closed the door on me, girl. I was like,
Oh,
and it
okay.
wasn't even like, dude, we're done having fun. It was ghost. And I was just like, you don't get to do that to me.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, got it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it was a lot of soul ties in the book is that story of me grappling with the idea of letting go when I wanted to keep the control.
Mm.
And I that's what I like what I was saying earlier. sometimes soul ties is your pride. It's
Mm,
you saying, I gave you all of me, or I gave you this part of me, or I trusted you and you were supposed to be my everything, and you can't make me look like a fool.
mm-hmm,
So we're going to work this out until you prove everybody wrong. And that's just
mm,
not the case. And that's where really, um, why did I forget the growing pains came in?
mm, mm,
Growing pains came in after soul ties.
mm.
Hmm. But I just felt like soul ties was too hard hitting to put in the beginning of the book.
That's fair. So, okay. I think like this is super relatable. Thank you for sharing
Mhm.
exactly what it was, because now it's very clear. I think many of us can relate to that feeling, right? Thinking um you had some, not necessarily control, but some influence, maybe, with the other person, or maybe even thinking that everything is all good, and then maybe like a small inner voice telling you, no, right? It sounds like a small quiet voice, which many people, if you are uh Christian anyway, I can't say what other texts make it sound like, but in the Bible they do say that that's what God's voice sounds like. It's a small quiet
Hmm.
voice. And so you then ignore it for pride, for ego, for whatever it is that you want, right? You just ignore what that small quiet voice is saying, and in this case, let it go, move on, move this person out of your life. And then all of a sudden when they're removed, then it becomes, wait, no. And like I've done this with a lot of relationships. No, everyone told me that this relationship was bad, so I now need to prove that them wrong, so I'm going to stick in this relationship and like try to make it work. And I don't know if anyone has ever gone through something like that. Please put it in the chat so we know that we're not alone. Is this tracking? Do people understand what we're talking about? We can't be the only people.
Are we just crazy? Please.
Right? Exactly. Oh, I got one person on Instagram, Jack, saying facts. Nettie is saying, yes, red flags and warning signs do come, which is true. They do. But
Yes.
do we ignore them because of pride and ego? Or are we just,
For satisfaction for the moment,
mm,
just to have that instant boost of, okay, you know what, it is a red flag and I'll address it later. But
mm,
right now, this is about me. I can control myself.
mm-hmm.
And then you start spiraling.
And then you're like, how did I get here?
Hmm. Because it gives you that feeling of like, um, well, I got away with it. I could do it again. And I got out
Mm,
clean. I got out scot free. I got
mm-hmm,
out scot free with this man like 3 different times, and I was fine.
mm-hmm,
So this last time, I felt like I was put in a trap. And it was because of, you know, me not wanting to face the healing process of everything. I was tired of trying to heal myself at the moment. I
mm,
wanted to start being numb and I wanted to
mm,
start having fun. And I'm like, well, why can't I be like those other girls? Why
mm,
can't I have fun? Everybody else wants to have fun. And literally, anybody that I was trying to date, that's all they wanted to do. And I was like, I'm so tired of this. Let me take it into control with somebody that I know and I trust, possibly. But I didn't really know him at all anymore. But in
mm,
my mind, I convinced myself, I know that man. I know him.
mm-hmm,
He's safe.
mm-hmm.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Right. Until it wasn't. Everything's fine until it's
Exactly.
not, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, so let's talk about the other side of it. I always,
Mm-hmm.
number one is awareness, right? You have to become aware.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes that awareness comes and it's painful. It's a growing pain, as you described.
Mm-hmm.
So now that we're aware that, okay, we have entered a soul tie, we have entered a connection that now we need to break, we need to sever, we need to let go of. what
Mm-hmm.
what have you found has been really helpful in that process? And it is painful. I think that's the other thing, is that we don't discuss how painful it sometimes can be. But tell me about, through your experience, what have you learned?
Yeah. It's coming back to yourself.
Mm,
It's putting in the work for yourself and numbing in a different way, in a sense. Not really numbing, but intentionally, like I had started going back to the gym. I focused on what I was eating. I had to focus on so many different self growth in different areas. I started reading my Bible. I started reading self help books. I started reading um, like psychology books
Mm.
just so that I can get an understanding of the mind. Uh, and it wasn't easy and it was boring half of the time. And I would sit there and cry because I was so tired. I was so
Mm.
tired of like, I get it. I messed up and I'm ready to be free. I'm ready to move on. And just any little thing would be like, remember? And I'm like, how do I pull myself out of this? I remember. And for me, it's poetry, it's writing. Writing it out is without a doubt probably writing it out, praying it out, and I write down my prayers. I don't sit down on my knees and pray. I'll sit there and I will 3 pages, 4 pages long of a prayer and I'm crying and I have to. I have to. Like it I was raised in a Christian home, so that was me coming back to myself, you
Mhm.
know. But when I was younger, I would sit in my room and I would write poetry. When I was mad at my mom, I would write her letters. She used to get mad at me and be like, "Why can't you just talk to me?" And I'm like, "Cause you always yell." We're Puerto Rican. You get mad, you know. But it it was really, I had to come back to myself and I had to pour into myself in the disciplined ways.
Mm.
And it's really disciplining yourself to say, no, I'm not dating to have fun. I'm
Mm.
not even going to kiss anybody because I know that what I'm looking for is deeper and I don't know if I'm going to be able to get out of it again. And that's the truth.
Mm.
I don't know if I'll be able to get out of it again. And I have to put my foot down now for me and my mental sanity because if you destroy me, I don't know where I'm gonna go because there was so many other places that my mind would take me, like, oh, just go drink, you know, go smoke, go
Mhm.
do this, go out, you know, and I I'm like, but where's that gonna leave me?
Mhm.
You know, and you have to think about, you know, I know like there was this trend for a while, like your little self and your future self and everything, but you really have to think about your future self, like genuinely, who do you want to be? And not like career wise or anything like that. Who genuinely do you feel is going to be the best you, and how do you work to get to that person? And then you start writing down what it's going to take right now to get you one step closer to there.
Mm.
And that's the hard work, is the root work and digging in deep, because it wasn't just why can't I get over him? It was, you know, what happened in the past that I keep falling for the same type of people. Like
Mhm.
when I fall for somebody that hard, it wasn't the guy before. He was a safe choice and it would just, we knew we weren't going to end up together, but we just stayed safe together. But anybody before that I fell for that hard was the same pattern. There was a manipulation, there was the gentleman in the beginning, and then there was the, okay, now let me take your soul. And I'm just like, what? I thought we were good, you know? So it's just
Mhm.
like I had to get to that. Like I had to answer, why do I allow this in my life? And so then it was more root work of, you know, I've had a man in my life my whole life. My stepfather stepped up, but it was, that's who my real dad promised to be. And
Mm.
then now look, you know, and why do I feel the need to please and this and that? Because the church taught me to, you know, be hospitable
Mhm.
and be that woman that gives and, you know, is, you know, community based and all of this stuff.
Mhm.
And it's easy to be that person and then for everybody to be attracted to you, but it's not easy for you to see the ones that are in disguise.
Mhm.
So I really had to sit there and reflect on everything, all relationships, because then after him it was friendships.
Mm.
And it was, I've got a couple poems in there that talks about like, I'm talking to this, like basically I'm not talking about these experiences, I'm talking to the spirit that lives in each of these people that keeps doing this to me.
Mm.
and loves watching me from a distance until I'm ready to walk away and then pops up in somebody else, you know?
Mm.
And then it just started becoming friends. And then the last time it was family,
Mm.
and it was hard hitting, like, wow, okay, I see you and I'm going to call you out.
Mm.
And it was because I always suffered with, you know, not necessarily being lonely, but I always had a very small group of people,
Mhm.
always. So I was
Mhm.
always trying to grow it and, have different outlets and things like that, but it was always too much. And then it was always something malice underlying, and I wouldn't see it in the beginning. So then when it
Mm.
happened with family, I was just like, okay, I can see you clearly. You are not allowed to walk into this door anymore.
Mm.
So,
So many things that I'm getting from what you're saying. So the first is the awareness that we talked about. You have to be aware of what's going on. And then I love how you said that like you had to start figuring out getting back to yourself. And so there's this book that I read. Actually, I read it within a group, within a book club. It's called Letting Go. It is one of the books that actually has changed my life. But you did essentially what they talk about in this book, which is when you have an emotion or when you have a feeling and you're looking at yourself, to your point, you were like, why do I keep letting the same men into my life? Like, what's going on with me? What am I thinking about myself that this keeps happening? And letting go, a part of the process why this is painful is because you have to sit with that negative feeling. Oh, it's because I don't think that I'm worth it. Oh, it's because I think that I'm ugly. Oh, it's because I think that I have no value. I'm a mistake. Anyone who's been on my show before knows that that's called shame-based thinking, and we won't get into it too much. But when you have those thoughts about yourself, the idea when letting go is that you sit with it and you just sit with it. You just be, and
yeah.
that part hurts. It's nasty.
Mhm.
The crying, like you said, there's a lot of tears, a lot of praying to God, a lot of that. And I get it. And then the thing is, a lot of times we try to push those feelings away. We try to, no, I'm not feeling that. Let me get back to the feeling good part. Or you numb it by going outside, like you said, smoking, by being under a man, right? Like doing all these, we try to numb it instead of feeling it. And so with letting go,
Mhm.
there's a um I will say you are strongly encouraged to just sit with it.
Okay.
And the thing is, once you allow yourself to be with that really icky, horrible feeling, it eventually passes and you can let it go. It's the suppression, it's trying to keep that feeling away that actually makes it stick around, that makes it
Yeah,
stay.
and that's the thing too, is just like I said, things pop up and it comes back and you're like, I just let it go. What do you mean? And
Hmm.
it's continuously sitting with it and also continuously calling it out.
Hmm.
You have to sit there and say, I see you and I have to now make a choice.
And that's what I was going
I
to get to next, boundaries. And then after once you the make a decision to set the boundary that this is no longer a boundary that I'm going to let people cross.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yep.
Now let me ask you, as
Mhm.
oh, I just had the time. We got to wrap things up.
Okay.
As, I know time just like totally flew.
Yeah, it really went
Um,
by fast. Sorry.
no, you're totally fine. I think everyone else is enjoying. Look, if you have been getting value from today's conversation, please put it in the comments and let us know. Um, Suppressing it does not make it go away.
No, it does
100%
not.
Jeannie.
Mm,
Totally agree with
definitely
you.
does not.
Um, yes. So Nettie on Instagram is saying, "Been there. I got a T-shirt." Found out that it was something missing in my life.
Part of the
Right.
club.
Speaking of the other person, yes, that right.
Uh,
Thank you, Nettie, for sharing that. Um, this is I guess if you're getting value from it and this makes a lot of sense, please let us know in the chat. Please let Nicole know. But what I was also thinking is just like share. Do you feel like it's worth it? Do you feel like going through all that pain, going through all of that has been worth it for you?
yeah. After all of it, I chose never to engage with or even kiss a man unless I saw that he was pursuing me. I went 3 years without a kiss. As a grown 23 to 26-year-old, I'm like, I need to be kissing somebody, and nobody wants to treat me right. But but it changed the trajectory of value, of self-value. It changed the idea of me needing, and me being okay with, I'm okay by myself. You know, I got this, and I'll really genuinely be okay. And what's crazy is when I met my now husband, when we were dating, it all came back up really violently. And I never met a man that allowed me to be safe in those conversations. And there was one day I was just crying about all of it to him. And he was just so quiet and so patient. And he's just like, we all have a past, and, I'm still here. And it broke my heart that I was still feeling those things while I have this man who is like flourishing love all over me. And I'm just like, that's it. I'm not going to ruin what I have. There's no way I'm going to ruin this. For this kind of grace, no. No. It's always going to be worth it, pouring into yourself and setting boundaries for yourself. It sucks. It's hard. It's a battle. It literally is an everyday battle, and it takes time, but you are worth every second of that time. And you're worth finding yourself, and you're worth waiting for somebody to see who you truly are and appreciate and respect that, whatever respect looks like for you.
Yeah, I love that. What a way to end it. I love it. So Moana on Instagram is saying that she got value, and that the stories of many seem in alignment of moving through pain and finding self, how we see, feel, and act, learning about ourselves. And I couldn't agree more. That's 100% true. Nettie also says amen to all of that. Look, thank you so much, Nicole, for coming on and spending time with us. Guys, I put all of her information in the description below. So please, she's a real person. You can reach out to her on her Instagram, on her Facebook. Sorry, on her Instagram, her TikTok.
I do have a Facebook as well, Nicole Elise Poetry.
There it is. Sorry. Nicole Elise Poetry. You can find her on Facebook. I'll update that in the description. And please go ahead and buy her book. She is an international best-selling author, so you want to make sure that you go grab that. The link for that is also in the description below. Thank you again so much, Nicole. This has been amazing. We got to have you come back on.
Yeah, definitely. I would love that. I got another book coming this year. So
there it is.
Yes, we're over the drama. We're ready for love.
Woo!
Sweetest day. Sweetest day.
We're getting the inside scoop. We're getting the inside scoop first.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. And I will be with you again next week. But until then, have a great night.
You too. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you.